Good evening, everybody. I declare tonight's council meeting, Tuesday the 28th of July, open at 5:30 p.m, and would like to advise the meeting is being live streamed and recorded in accordance with the council meeting's live streaming, recording and electronic attendance policy. Attendance at this meeting may involve the collection of personal information, including an individual's image, voice and any statements made. Recordings are made for the purpose of fulfilling legislative requirements, maintaining accurate records and enabling the transparency in decision-making. Recordings may be published or made available to the public in accordance with the applicable legislation. Personal information is managed in accordance with the applicable privacy legislation and the council privacy policy. By being present at this meeting, members of the public consent to the live streaming and recording and subsequently being published their voice on the city's website. Tonight, I'd just like to start tonight's meeting with some words kindly shared by Elder George Wally. People have been here for a long time. I want to acknowledge the presence of people over that long time, with first the Binjarab Noongar people, who continue to have an ongoing connection to this land. They have been here for over 50,000 years. This place, Mandurah or Mandurah, acknowledges a beautiful name full of intent, of people living here and others visiting here. That intent gives us an idea of their ancestral land usage over that long period. Mandurah, the gathering place, is unique because even today we still gather here in the most beautiful place for many important reasons. Let us embrace the notion of people being in this space as we continue to move forward as one community. Tonight we have a couple of apologies. One apology because our elected member who should be on leave has shown up, which is absolutely extraordinary. Welcome back, Councillor Cumberworth. It's great to have you here. And we also have a very special leave of absence because one of our elected members is celebrating his 50th birthday. So to Councillor Wright, if you are at home watching this instead of enjoying a roast with your family, happy birthday. I hope that you know that you are definitely going to be missed. We also have an elected member online tonight. So we will be amending standing orders, but I'll go through that in a moment. Members of the public are advised that any decision made at the meeting tonight may be revoked in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995. Therefore, members of the public should not rely on any decision until formal notification in writing has been received. I'd like to start tonight's meeting with some news. As a council, we would like to acknowledge the passing of one of our former mayors, Keith Holmes OAM. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the extraordinary contribution that on behalf of the City of Mandurah, I extend our sincere condolences to Keith's family, friends and all those who had the privilege of knowing and working with him. Keith's contribution to Mandurah was profound and lasting. After arriving in Mandurah in 1988, what was intended to be a quiet retirement quickly became a life dedicated to community service. He was a passionate advocate for protection of the Kariri wetlands, and his commitment to ensuring community voices were heard ultimately led to him to local government. Keith was elected to council in 1994 and became mayor in 1995. Serving for a decade and becoming Mandurah's first popularly elected mayor, during a period of extraordinary growth and change, he provided steady, principled and visionary leadership for our community. Many of the places and projects that are now woven into the fabric of Mandurah were advanced during Keith's time as mayor, including the Mandurah Performing Arts Centre, the Mandurah Ocean Marina, the Broadwalk Precinct, the Western Foreshore War Memorial, and advocacy for major infrastructure projects such as the Perth to Mandurah rail line and the Peel deviation. Equally important was the way Keith led. He believed deeply in community consultation, integrity and respectful debate. He championed a more open and connected council, established strong relationships across the community, and helped lay the foundations for the values-driven culture that continues to guide our organisation today. His service was recognised through the West Australian Local Government Association Distinguished Service Award in 2004, the Medal of Order of Australia in 2005, most fittingly, the city's highest honour when he was named an Honorary Freeman of the City in 2023. When Keith was nominated for the Freeman honour, former Mayor Paddy Creevy OAM described him as one of the giants on whose shoulders Mandurah stands. That is a sentiment that resonates deeply today. The Mandurah we know and love has been shaped by people who care enough to step forward and make a difference, and Keith was unquestionably one of those people. Tonight we remember Keith not only for the offices he held or the projects he helped, but for his unwavering commitment to the community he served. May you rest in peace, Keith, and may his legacy continue to inspire future generations of leaders and community members. Thank you. We now move in to answers to questions taken on notice. Please refer to the screen. Probably can't read it from that screen, it's very small, but they're in the agenda. Tonight, as I said, we will be amending the standing orders. Council's request to resolve to suspend the operation of the following provisions of the City of Mandurah Standing Orders Local Law 2016 for the duration of this meeting to ensure that Councillor Knight can follow and participate in the meeting as it progresses. Standing Order 7.2, members to occupy own seats whilst present in meeting room, relevant only for elected members attending the council chambers. Agree under Standing Order 8.11 and 12.2 that instead of requiring a show of hands, a vote will be conducted by exception with the presiding member calling for all members against the motion. If no response is received, the motion will be declared carried and minuted accordingly. I would like to reiterate the requirements as per Standing Order 7.3 for members to advise the presiding member, which is myself, when leaving or entering the meeting at any time. Can I please ask for a mover and a seconder? Yes, Deputy Mayor Smith and seconder Councillor Wilkins. I'll put that to a vote. Anybody voting against? I declare that carried. We will now move into public question time. Please ensure that your questions relate to the ordinary business of the city, the function of council or the purpose of this meeting. Please note that this is an opportunity to ask questions only. No additional statements or arguments will be permitted. During a public question time, members of the public are given the opportunity to ask a question of council. Council will allocate 15 minutes of public question time. Once this time has been exhausted, I may move a motion to extend public question time for a further 15 minutes. The City is committed to ensuring fair and equitable access to public question time in accordance with council policy. Each member of the public who wishes to ask a question may ask up to 3 questions. Public question time must be conducted in accordance with the City of Mandurah's standing orders. Questions must not reflect adversely on the integrity of the City of Mandurah, including an elected member, city officer or other party. When called forward to ask your questions, please begin by stating your name. Tonight, the City will make every attempt to provide an answer. Where this is not possible, your questions will be taken on notice and a written response will be provided to you once the necessary research has been undertaken. This response will also be included in the next council agenda. I now open public question time at 5:39 p.m. And can I invite Gary Buckland?
Gary Buckland. I was under the impression that the questions that I was wanting answers to have already been looked at. So what happens now?
They absolutely have, Gary. So it's up to you. You can re-ask your questions and I can refer them to the Director of Built Natural Environment to answer them publicly. Or would you like...
The problem is, and I've got to be honest with you, I was under thinking that they would be just answered because I've put the written questions through, because I've got
Yeah,
dozens of different things that are going on in my head at the moment. So,
yeah, that's absolutely fine, Gary. What I can do is I can get Matt to summarise the questions and to give responses if you're
Yeah.
comfortable with that, just so it's on record. Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you, Director.
Through the Mayor, question 1. Who is going to take responsibility for the Galileo Loop area maintenance, wall barriers, car parks, footpaths and bridge maintenance? The response is the City is responsible for the maintenance of the public infrastructure assets located within the road reserve and public open space on Galileo Loop. Question 2. Who is taking responsibility for the Breakwater Parade seawall as it is crumbling and large limestone rocks are falling into the ocean? The officer response: the City is responsible for the maintenance of the Breakwater Parade seawall. The City's coastal engineer consultant recently inspected the condition of the seawall and found it to be in relatively good condition. The City also undertakes regular maintenance inspections of its coastal and marine assets, and any minor repair and maintenance works are arranged as needed. Question 3. The groins 1, 2 and 3 Silver Sands area have become unsafe with large limestone rock movement. The response to that question: the Silver Sands groins are also considered to be in relatively good condition, and again these are subject to upcoming maintenance inspections, following which any minor maintenance and repair works will be arranged. Warning signage is also located at these groins to advise of the risk of instability of the rock structures. Thank you.
Thank you, Director of Built and Natural Environment, and thank you, Gary Buckland.
yeah, that's basically all I wanted to ask.
Thank you very much for your time, Gary. Mr. Buckland. I would now like to invite Darren Stride. Thank you, Darren.
My name is Darren Stride of Stride Skip Bins. So first question, Kwinana Energy Resource Facility restriction. Regarding Mandurah Waste Transfer Station, in this letter dated 27th of July 26, the City stated that commercial general waste remains restricted because of Kwinana Energy recovery, waste acceptance and compliance matter. Given that Council approved deed variation number 3 to the Kerr Waste Supply Agreement on the 24th of February 26, will the City identify the specific contractual or waste acceptance requirements causing the restriction and state what must occur before commercial access resumes?
Thank you, Mr. Stride. I'll refer that to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, the Kwinana Waste to Energy or Kerr facility recently experienced significant disruption due to blockages caused by the uncontrolled size and nature of materials being delivered by the City to the facility. The materials causing the issue are varied, however large metal items are of particular concern. City officers are presently working with the Kerr facility and Cleanaway in an effort to resume a level of service for impacted commercial businesses as soon as possible. This is expected to include revised handling and sorting of commercial waste at both the City's Waste Management Centre and the Kerr facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Following up question.
Follow-up question. So question 2, alternative arrangements. The City stated that it has limited options and that directing operators to facilities such as Baldivis is generally the only viable alternative. However, Ranford Road, which operates under the same Kerr waste arrangements, advised us that it uses an operator and sorter, has not experienced Kerr-related closures and can direct waste to alternative facilities including Red Hill. Why has Mandurah not established comparable sorting backup equipment and alternative disposal arrangements?
Thank you, Darren. I'll refer that to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, The city's waste management centre is a waste transfer station only. It operates by compacting all general waste material that is deposited at the centre and transports the compacted materials to the Kerr facility. The city, in consultation with Cleanaway, is currently exploring the feasibility of upgrading its waste handling and sorting practices, including the separation of bulky waste items. Previously, this has not been needed to be considered before the recent disruptions experienced at the Kerr facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Your third question, Ms. Stride.
Yeah, question 3, business losses. The city acknowledged that diversion causes additional travel and expense, but confirmed that it has conducted no formal assessment of the costs imposed on local businesses. Stride skip bins recorded 89 diverted loads out of 144, approximately 6,141 additional kilometres, and estimated additional costs of 10,692 over 7 weeks. Will Council undertake and publish an economic impact assessment and consider reimbursement or temporary financial relief for demonstrable losses caused by these restrictions?
Thank you. I'll refer that to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. So the city hasn't entered into an agreement with any commercial businesses that guarantees the acceptance of waste. We do acknowledge that this is impacting yourself and other local businesses, and we are working as a priority to try and find a solution with the Kerr and also Cleanaway, and we will continue to update you in relation to the progress we're making in relation to that. And we won't be offering any financial relief to commercial operators.
Thank you, CEO. Thank you so much, Mrs. Stride.
Thank you.
Do we have any other members of the community that would like to ask a question tonight? No one's jumping up. If there are no other questions, I will close public question time at 5:47 p.m. We now move into public statement time, which there is none. And now we move into leave of absence requests, which there is also none. Oh, yes, no, yes, there is. Councillor Zolani, have you received leave of absence request? Thank you. We've received that, Councillor Zolani. Are there any other requests for leave of absences from elected members? We have Councillor Zolani's leave of absence request on screen. Do I have a mover and a seconder for yes, Councillor Burns as the mover and Councillor Wilkins as the seconder. Can I put that to a vote? Any elected members against?
Point of order.
Oh, yes. What's your point of order, Councillor Zolani?
I think you need to mention the time frame from which date to which date I'm taking the leave.
It was on the screen, but I'm more than happy to mention I did say it's as on the screen, which is the 5th of August, the 19th of August. I don't accept the point of order, but I'm more than happy to clarify the date of your leave. Once again, is there anybody against the request from Councillor Zolani? If there is nobody against that, I declare the motion carried. Thank you. We now move into petitions, which there are none. Presentations, there are also none. Deputations, there are none. Confirmation of minutes. I would now like to ask for a mover and a seconder to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 23rd of June 2026. Do I have a mover and a seconder for the minutes? Yes. Councillor Schumacher as the mover, Councillor Green as the seconder. Can I put that to the vote? Any elected member against accepting the minutes of the last council meeting? If there's nobody against, I declare that carried. While we continue to move through, can I just confirm that Councillor Knight is online? Her microphone's not working. Her microphone's not working.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Councillor Knight.
Sorry about that. It's saying that it is working.
Microphone's not working. Yeah, we can definitely hear you now. Thank you.
Thank you. Apologies.
That's fine. We now move into item 14. This is where we get to celebrate all that has happened in the month. And as people in chamber and community can understand, a lot happens in Mandurah in 1 month, but we try to squeeze it in just to a couple of highlights. I would like to invite Deputy Mayor Smith to share about the Probus 50th anniversary celebration.
Thank you, Mayor. On Friday, the 24th of July, I attended a lovely civic event, the 50-year anniversary of the Probus Club of Australia. In attendance were the 6 Mandurah branches, the Probus Club of Mandurah Peel, Combined Probus Club of Mandurah, the Mandurah branch, the Mandurah Ladies Club, the Dawesville Club, and the Mandurah Island Probus Club. So a little bit of history and background for you. The Probus was established in Australia in New South Wales in March of 1976, and the first Probus club in Western Australia was Thornley, established in 82. Our first Mandurah branch was the Probus Club of Mandurah in 84, closely followed by the Mandurah Ladies Probus Club in 85. So for those of you that aren't aware, the Probus Club brings together retirees and semi-retirees in a welcoming environment where they can build new friendships, stay socially connected and enjoy a diverse range of activities. So through shared interests and meaningful connections, the Probus Club creates a strong sense of community, fostering belonging, purpose and companionship. It was really, really wonderful to see this group of local residents to be so genuinely delighted to be recognised and acknowledged by the City of Mandurah for their positive contribution that they make to our community. In my work as a paramedic, I often witness the impact that loneliness and social isolation can have on our ageing population. I feel that community organisations like Probus provide far more than social activities. They create a welcoming space where people can build friendships, assist each other with emotional well-being and find a sense of belonging. I'd like to congratulate everyone involved in this fantastic organisation and a special thanks to Brian Holt, the WA Representative Director, for his support in helping make this event possible. Your commitment to fostering connection and strengthening our community is truly appreciated. And reflecting on the event today, I was reminded that in a world that it can often be dominated by negative news, it's these kind of organisations and community events that we should really be celebrating. And I strongly encourage my fellow councillors to attend such civic events and community events, as they're a wonderful reminder that community spirit and pride are alive and well in Mandurah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Mayor. We've received a beautiful email as well from Probus, so I'll share that with elected members. Yeah, they were very, very grateful. I would now like to ask Councillor Green, you attended an event on Sunday.
Yes, I did, Mayor, and thank you very much for asking me to speak to that. And following on Deputy Mayor's comment about community spirit and pride, I'd like to say that on Sunday the 27th, I attended an engagement, basically, or a community function at the Coodnut Foreshore to support National Tree Day. And if anyone knows me, they know that I really do love trees. And so it was really befitting for me to be there along with my fellow councillor, Daniel Wilkins, and of course you as well, Mayor Kearns. It was a day that had been forecast for rain, but despite all that, there was quite a good attendance. Everybody put on their jackets and boots, and even the children put on their wellies. And if there was an Olympic sport for puddle jumping and splashing around, I think the Coodnut kids would take that on. But anyway, it was really great to see a variety of stalls. We had the Coastal Warriors, we had the Mosquito Fight the Bite, which was quite an interesting stall for kids. They like to have a look at the mosquito larvae under a microscope. Heaven knows why, but they do. And of course, we have the paramedics who always turn up and ensure that if there's any splinters or anything like that, that from splinters to heart attacks, that they'll be there to help with the community, any wounds and things like that. Of course, there was the selection of juvenile shrubs and plants that people who attended could take free to enhance their garden. I think Councillor Wilkins was quite grateful about that, and I'm sure his garden is now looking a little bit better for it. Yeah, thank you. It was great. No, it was as I said, despite the weather, it was well attended. Everyone had good fun. It was well looked after, well catered for by the City of Mandurah, and I really do appreciate the fact that the staff who attended gave their time to direct people, made sure that the area that was planted was free of any contamination, because you had to step through baths of solutions and things like that. But and of course there was the sausage sizzle by the Lions Club, which always adds to an event like that. So all in all, and I nearly forgot. How cute are these little things? These were given out by the obviously by the city for children who participated, and boy were they were seen everywhere, these little yellow things. So thank you very much for that. It really contributed to the children experiencing such a family event together with their parents, and that, jumping in the water, planting trees, having a hot dog and everything like that. But before I end up, Mayor, I just want to also just say that on Saturday night I attended the Fire Brigade, the Volunteer Fire Brigade Awards Night, and I just want to say thank you to all those members who contribute to our community. They're such a great bunch, and I had a really great time with them. But we have to honour their position and what they do for our community, and and it was really great. I really enjoyed it. It's really been a great weekend for me as a councillor. Thank you, and I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Councillor Green. I always love your enthusiasm. You might need to give the gloves back, but I'm all for your enthusiasm. No. Tonight, I get the great privilege to announce our local legend. And I spoke to them before, and we've got 3 of our extraordinary Dots Place staff and volunteers with us. But as someone who has seen firsthand the impact that our local legends have on our community, I want to start by saying thank you. I've got some words here which I'm going to read verbatim because I don't want to get emotional, because I think when it comes to cancer, no one's immune. It's one of those things, it doesn't matter where you sit in society. It is brutal, and it is a horrible, horrible, horrible journey, and without people like Dots Place stepping up and standing in and walking alongside community through what can be an absolute nightmare, I just can't imagine Mandurah without you. But so I don't get off track, which I almost did, I'm going to read the script that we have to celebrate you, and then I'm going to ask Cassie if you'd like to come and say a few words. And Jill and Barb, you're more than welcome to speak as well if you'd like to. But tonight's local legend is Dots Place. As I was saying, a cancer diagnosis can change life in an instant, bring uncertainty and challenges that extend far beyond treatment itself. For many people across the regions, Dots Place Peel Cancer Support Centre has become a place of comfort, connection and support during some of life's most difficult moments. Through the dedication of its staff and volunteers, Dots Place provides a welcoming environment where people affected by cancer can access practical assistance, information, and most importantly, the understanding that comes from being surrounded by people who genuinely care. What makes Dots Place so special is its ability to help people feel less alone, whether supporting individuals through treatment, assisting family members and carers, or providing a space where people can connect with others who understand their experience. The centre offers compassion in a way that is both meaningful and deeply personal. Behind every service and every conversation is a team of committed to helping others navigate difficult circumstances with dignity, kindness and hope. Their work does touch countless lives, often in quiet ways that leave a lasting impact. So tonight, on behalf of the council, I really want to make sure that you know how much we appreciate you. I want to say thank you to the staff, the volunteers, to every person in our community who has supported Dot's Place over the years. You are by far a very worthy recipient of the Local Legend Award, and I'd like to give a certificate to every single volunteer that you have to say thank you. For those people that may not know, on the 15th of August, we actually have a fundraiser happening in Mandurah for Dot's Place. It's a big pink dip at Falcon Bay, 10 a.m, super cold. It was organised by another local legend who actually has received the support from Dot's Place as well, and she found it in her heart thinking, I want to do more in this space, what can I do? And now we have an amazing pink dip, and I think last year there would have been at least 100 people in bright pink in the pouring rain. So if you're somebody who would like to get amongst it on the 15th, I would definitely encourage you to go down. I know that Jill will definitely be there, and I'll be there. And I think last year we had our CEO and a few Deputy Mayor Smith was there, but it's a really incredible event, and it's just incredible that the local legend is you guys, and we've got that event in a couple of weeks' time. But now I would love to give you your certificate, and I'd also like to invite you to say a few words if you're comfortable. And can we give them a big round of applause?
Thank you. And thanks, Amber, that was beautiful. On behalf of Dot's Place and Cats Council WA, I would just like to sincerely thank the City of Mandurah and the Mayor for this wonderful recognition. We're incredibly honoured to accept the Local Legend Award on behalf of Dot's Place Peel tonight. This award belongs to an extraordinary community of people who've helped make Dot's Place the welcoming and supportive place that it is. First and foremost, we wanted to acknowledge the incredible generosity of our benefactors, Dorothy and Alan Smith. Their kindness has changed the lives of countless regional West Australians affected by cancer. After helping establish Dot's Place in Bunbury, Dorothy and Alan saw that there was also a real need in the Peel region. Their generosity has made it possible to create our beautiful centre here in Mandurah, a place where people facing cancer could step away from the clinical environment and find comfort, connection and support in a home-like setting. I'd also like to acknowledge our incredible team of staff and our amazing volunteers. Every day they provide compassion, practical support and hope to people at one of the most difficult times in their lives. Whether they're coordinating our transport to treatment, fitting a wig, facilitating one of our support groups, delivering our complementary therapies or simply offering a listening ear, they make an extraordinary difference. Their commitment, kindness and professionalism ensures everyone who walks through our doors feels welcomed, supported and never alone. We're incredibly proud of everything that they do, and this recognition tonight is very much a reflection of their dedication. And we'd also like to thank the City of Mandurah and also the whole community of Mandurah for their ongoing support of Dot's Place over many years. From the very beginning, the City recognised the value that this service would bring to the Peel community and has continued to champion the work that we do. The strong community partnerships that we have are essential in supporting people affected by cancer, and we're grateful to have such a supportive local government standing alongside us. It's a privilege to be part of this community, and we look forward to continuing to support the people of Peel for many years to come. Thank you all very much.
And not that we get many viewers, but if anyone's watching online, I do a post celebrating our local legend, and I'll have a link to Dot's Place and to the Big Dip if you'd like to click on and get more information. And as I said, you are more than welcome to stay for the entire meeting, or you might leave now. But thank you so much, and congratulations again. We now move into item 15, declaration of interest. Elected members and officers are now asked to declare any real or perceived interest they may have in respect of the reports listed for consideration for tonight's council meeting. Should an elected member or officer declare an interest, I would remind them of the need to leave the chamber immediately prior to the item's discussion. CEO, have you received any declarations of interest for tonight's council meeting?
Thank you, Mayor. No, I have not received any declarations.
Thank you. Are there any elected members that would like to declare an interest for tonight's council meeting? I'll take that as a no. We now move into question time for elected members, questions of which notice has been given. There are no questions which notice has been given. Are there any questions from elected members for tonight's council meeting? Yes, Councillor Zolani.
I have a question for Mayor. Given the upcoming state by-election in the electorate of Secret Harbour, does the city intend to use this opportunity to strongly advocate to all candidates and political parties for state funding of the long-awaited pedestrian bridge across Mandurah Road between Mandurah Bay and Lakelands to improve safety for school students and other pedestrians? And if so, what specific advocacy actions will be undertaken to maximize the likelihood of securing a funding commitment?
Thank you so much, Councillor Zolani, for your question. For elected members, I have sent a letter out to every single candidate and have asked if they would like to meet with me so I can discuss our priorities for advocacy. I will definitely be advocating for several things, and that is definitely on my list, Councillor Zolani. So for any of the candidates that do choose to meet with me, I will be going through what our current priorities are and what our advocacy is for those areas and what we're wanting to see from this election. That's... Any other questions, Councillor Zolani?
I have subsequent question. Would you like to publish those commitments before the election so people can vote accordingly?
I won't be publishing any commitments from... That would be up for the candidate, what they're wanting to offer. I'm more than happy to share what we're needing or what our priorities are for those areas. But it would be up to the candidate to share what they're wanting to offer if they choose to offer anything. Absolutely. Any other questions, Councillor Zolani?
I have a question about different topic.
Absolutely.
That is to the CEO.
Thank you, Councillor Zolani.
Can the CEO please provide an update on the current status of matters relating to Hall Park, Western Foreshore, and advise what further steps, reports, or council decisions may be required before any final decision is made? Thank
you, Councillor Zolani. I'll refer that to the CEO.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. The current status is it's still with the state government, and that still is required to go through Parliament. In relation to your question around decisions of council, they're still, depending on the outcome of the decision of the state government, if it is approved, it will have to come back to council for the approval of the lease. So that and so council will be presented with that. However, if it isn't approved, then we would still present council an update on the status, but there won't need to be any further decisions in that regard.
Any other questions, Councillor Zolani?
Yeah. Subsequent question. Given the significant community interest in Hall Park, can the CEO explain how the city will ensure that community feedback and the long-term public value of this reserve are considered as part of any future decision-making process?
Thank you, Councillor Zolani. I'll refer that to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. As you would recall, there has been an extensive community consultation that has already occurred. In relation to the decision that council have to make in relation to the lease, there is a public submission process, and we will go through that statutory required timeframe as well.
Thank you. No more questions. Thank you, Councillor Sani. Councillor Burns.
Thank you. I have some questions of my own, but if I may ask a subsequent one to that topic.
Yeah, absolutely. Councillor Burns.
Mayor, recently there was a cultural survey conducted, an Indigenous cultural survey conducted at the Western Foreshore. If something new comes from that or results from that, is there a decision, or if there's a change of information, what's the likelihood that that would come back to council for consideration or review if there is new information? Yeah. Or does that lay wholly and solely with the state government?
Yeah, I'll refer that to the CEO.
Thank you. It is a state government process in terms of registration, so it would be a state government decision, and we would take advice from them.
Thank you. Councillor Burns, further question.
I have some questions regarding recurring drainage and flooding issues affecting the northern end of Anstruther Road and the surrounding area, particularly Rockford Street and Moat Street. I could read them all and potentially take them on notice. Is that the sequence you would like?
If you would like to read, if they're all in relation to the same thing, if you read them all, and if they haven't already been answered by the Director of Built and Natural Environment, we'll take them on notice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Question 1, I'm seeking an update regarding the recurring flooding affecting the northern end of Anstruther Road and adjoining streets, particularly Rockford Street and the aptly named Moat Street, where residents have advised that flooding occurs during significant rainfall events. Can the City confirm whether it recognises this as an ongoing flooding and drainage issue and outline its current understanding of the nature and extent of the problem? Question 2.
Director of Built and Natural, would you like to have every question separate and then have a response? If that's, yep, no worries. I'll refer that to the Director of Built and Natural Environment. Thank you, Councillor Burns.
Through the Mayor, the City has been made aware of flooding issues in Rockford Street and the surrounds, and is presently undertaking hydrological modelling of that area to ascertain the extent of the issue and potentially then be able to move forward with possible solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Further question, Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Chair. Can the CEO or associated or the applicable staff officer please clarify which aspects of this issue fall within the City's responsibility and which fall under the responsibility of other agencies, such as the Water Corporation or other state government authorities, particularly where stormwater drainage, groundwater, sewerage and pumping infrastructure may be involved?
I'll refer that to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
The City is responsible for stormwater drainage infrastructure in that area. Similarly, Water Corporation and other state government agencies are responsible for their respective infrastructure and any impacts in that precinct as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Further question, Councillor Burns.
Thank you, and it's partly been answered, but because they're pre-prepared, I'll read it to the full. Has the City undertaken or is currently undertaking any internal investigations, engineering assessments or discussions with the relevant agencies regarding this area? If so, could the CEO or staff outline the current status of that work and whether a long-term solution has been identified?
Thank you, Councillor Burns. I'll refer that to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, as previously advised, the City is presently undertaking modelling work to ascertain the extent of the issue and to then be able to allow us to, we expect, work through solutions around that drainage issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Further question, Councillor Burns.
Thank you. If the City considers that infrastructure improvements or other mitigation measures are required, does it have an action plan for this locality, and what timeframe can affected residents reasonably expect before meaningful progress is made?
Thank you, Councillor Burns. I'll refer that to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, we would expect the outcomes of the modelling to be known within the next couple of months, and from there we could put more meaningful timeframes around the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Councillor Burns, further question?
Thank you, Chair, and this may be directed to a different officer. More broadly, what is the city's approach when assessing applications for higher density infill residential development in established suburbs? In particular, how does the city satisfy itself that existing drainage, stormwater and other supporting infrastructure are capable of accommodating the increased intensity of development, particularly in areas that are already experience flooding and drainage constraints?
Thank you, Councillor Burns. I'll refer that to the Director of Strategy and Economic Development.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. So when we receive, it depends on the application. So if we will, necessarily for higher density, medium density development that we receive in the city centre, we'll receive the application in and make sure that we have the necessary information to make a decision. This information is then referred out to the relevant experts within the city. So that will go to the drainage, for example, will head straight to the drainage engineers and stormwater engineers within the built natural environment area, who will provide feedback on the information that's been provided, and any follow-up questions or further investigation that might be needed to satisfy the answer to the questions. At the end of and during that process, if there are any again, depends on the application, any conditions or expectations that the city would have to would recommend to for the application to make sure that it's the drainage, again taking an example, is sufficient to meet the expected needs of the area, then those recommendations will be made to the planning team for consideration, as we will put that forward depending on where the decision is made, if it's going to adapt as a potential condition to be put on the development approval.
Thank you, Director. Further question, Councillor Burns? No further questions? No worries. Are there any other questions from elected members that are without notice? If there are no other questions, I will move to the next item. Business left over from previous meeting, there is none. Recommendations from committees, there is also none. And so we're going to move straight into item 19, reports. We move to report 19.1, Disability Access and Inclusion Plan 2026 to 2031. Council will now consider adopting the city's new plan, helping to ensure that people of all abilities can access services, facilities and opportunities across our community. The officer's recommendation is on screen. Do I have a mover and a seconder for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Cumberworth as the mover and Councillor Green as the seconder. Councillor Cumberworth, would you like to speak to the officer's recommendation?
The City of Mandurah has done excellent work in the disability access and inclusion space, and look forward to another 5 years of progress towards making our beautiful city accessible to all, including our large proportion of elderly residents. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Cumberworth. Councillor Green, would you like to speak as the seconder?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, for that opportunity. Look, this is a 5-year plan. It's from 2026 to 2031. It's come on the back of the 2021 to 2026 plan that Mandurah adopted, or the City of Mandurah adopted. The public consultation is now out on this particular plan, and the plan targets areas such as services, programs and events, buildings and facilities, communications, customer service, compliance and feedback, community consultation and engagement, and employment. I think these are towers that give the City of Mandurah such a great reputation when it looks after not only our seniors, but also the people who have neurodiverse issues, physical issues, injuries, mobility issues, and also looking after our seniors with respect to that. I don't think, from what I understand and having been involved previously with the group on access and inclusion, we're very mindful of, the people who live in our particular area and the age groups and obviously the challenges that are met by our residents and ratepayers. And this particular group, I'm not in it now, I think Deputy Chair Deputy Mayor, should I say, beg your pardon, Smith, is on that particular committee, and I think that she would agree with me that they're very responsible and conscious of how this particular plan is being developed and how it's going to be rolled out. So I second the motion that this plan is adopted and that the community engagement supports it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Green. Yes, Councillor Burns, have you got a question? Would you like to speak against? Question? No worries, Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Chair. I'm generally supportive of the plan that's before us. The report states that the Disability Access and Inclusion Plan has been prepared to be delivered within existing operational and capital budgets, and that any increase in service level would require additional budget for staff resourcing and implementation. Just so, if you hear me, so be absolutely clear, can the CEO confirm that adopting this plan does not itself approve any additional expenditure beyond those existing budgets, and that any future proposal requiring additional funding would be brought back to Council through the normal budget process?
Thank you, Councillor Burns. I'll refer that to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I can confirm that, and just wanted to also be clear in the way that we deliver capital projects now. There's always a consideration for access and inclusion, so that is already included in the total cost of a capital program. However, in the operational delivery, yes, just like every other new project is presented to Council, this will also any recommended new projects or programs will be recommended as part of that long-term financial plan process.
Thank you, CEO. Are there any other questions from elected members or anyone wishing to speak against the item before us tonight? If there is no one wishing to speak against and no further questions, I'll put the item up for vote. Anyone wishing to vote against the officer's recommendation as on screen? If there is no one wishing to vote against the officer's recommendation, I would declare that carried. We now move to report 19.2, local law review. Council will consider review of the city's dog local law, health local law and standing orders local law to make sure they're up to date, practical and meeting the needs of our community. If you can see the officer's recommendation on the screen, do I have a mover and a seconder for the officer's recommendation? Yes, Councillor. Yep, Councillor Cumberworth as the mover and Councillor Wilkins as the seconder. Councillor Cumberworth, would you like to speak to the officer's recommendation?
Reviewing the local law is the most important thing that we do as a local council. Support the review of these local laws in time for the end of year deadline. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Cumberworth. Councillor Wilkins, as the seconder, would you like to speak to the officer's recommendation?
Not much to add after Councillor Cumberworth, but just look forward to hearing back after the advertising period.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins. Is there anybody wishing to speak against the item, or are there any questions for the item before us tonight? If there's not, I will put that to the vote. Any elected member wishing to vote against the officer's recommendation to review the local laws before us? If there is nobody wishing to vote against, I declare the officer's recommendation carried. We now move to report 19.3, the amendment to the Memorial Council policy. Council will consider updates to the city's memorial policy, providing clearer guidance for memorial plaques and helping preserve important community connections when public infrastructure is renewed. The officer's recommendation is before us on screen. Do I have a mover? Deputy Mayor Smith as the mover and a seconder. Yes, Councillor Schumacher. Deputy Mayor Smith, would you like to speak to the officer's recommendation?
Thank you, through the Mayor. I'd like to provide some background for those who may not be familiar with the recent events that highlighted the need for this amendment. During a severe storm activity in late June, existing city infrastructure at Binny's Beach in San Remo, including a beach access timber stairs and seating structure, were damaged and washed away. As part of this incident, 2 memorial plaques dedicated to brothers from the same family, which were previously approved and attached to the bench, were also dislodged from the structure. Thankfully, they were recovered by family friends. Following this unfortunate event, the City became aware of a gap within the current memorial policy. The policy adopted in 2024 did not provide a mechanism for existing plaques to be reinstated in circumstances where they'd been lost due to events such as natural disasters or damage to the supporting infrastructure. In this particular instance, there was an extended period of communication with the family while the City assessed the future of the infrastructure at this location. Due to the environmental sensitivity and vulnerability of the area, careful consideration was required as to whether the structure would be replaced or not. We now have confirmation the infrastructure will be reinstated. On behalf of the Mayor, the CEO and I met with the family whose memorial plaques were impacted by the storm event. It was important for us to acknowledge that the City of Mandurah is not a faceless organisation. We're a community of people who understand the significance of these memorials and who genuinely care about supporting residents through moments of loss and grief. Those councillors who were involved in the review and the adoption of the memorial policy in 2024 will recall the complexity and the emotion involved in balancing individual circumstances with the need for a consistent and sustainable approach. Our intention has always been to ensure community feels acknowledged, respected and supported through the grieving process. At the same time, as our population grows, so too do the number of memorial plaque applications. The City currently receives more than 300 applications annually, and without clear parameters, there is a potential for a significant increase in memorial installations across our public spaces. So I find it important to clarify that this amendment does not change the existing position regarding new memorial plaques. Rather, it addresses an unforeseen gap by allowing, where possible, existing plaques to be reinstated where they have been impacted by circumstances outside the family's control, such as natural disaster or vandalism. The proposed amendment to section 2.1 simply provides that plaques can be reinstated when the infrastructure is fixed to is damaged or destroyed, was in good condition and the infrastructure is being replaced. Policies exist to provide clarity, consistency and fairness, and in this instance I believe that a minor but important amendment to address an oversight that was not anticipated when the policy was adopted in 2024. Moving forward, we'll continue to ensure communication with affected families and relevant stakeholders as undertaken with care, sensitivity and compassion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Mayor Smith. Councillor Schumacher.
Thank you, through the chair. I feel that's a very, very hard act to follow. And I absolutely agree with your words. I think they're very well said, very well spoken, and yeah, very happy just to be the secretary in this case.
Thank you so much, Councillor Schumacher, and yeah, absolutely. Councillor Burns, do you have a question or would you like to speak against the item?
I have a few questions, if I may.
Yeah, no worries.
The amendment appears relatively straightforward, but I want to understand whether it has any broader ramifications, particularly in relation to responsibilities, ongoing management and potential costs to the City and ultimately the ratepayers. To do that, I'd appreciate a better understanding of the existing memorial framework and how this amendment fits within it. So I've got 4 questions. There's a little bit of overlap. How would you like me to proceed?
I am happy for you to ask each question and I will refer them to the relevant staff.
Thank you, Chair. Question 1 is around that governance framework. One of the stated objectives of this policy is to provide a framework for the approval, placement and ongoing management of memorials. Does the policy itself expressly address those matters, including responsibilities, ownership, costs and financial obligations? And if so, could the administration identify the relevant clause or clauses? And if not, could administration identify the council policies, procedures, guidelines and other governance documents that do?
I will.
Sorry,
I'll refer that to the CEO. Thank you.
Thank you. In terms of those questions, I will not be able to answer them immediately around the specific clause. However, the intention of the policy is around the memorial plaques will be purchased by the applicant and the infrastructure. Obviously, it's the City of Mandurah. There's a reason greater than the plaque So there's a use of the infrastructure as well that's used by the public. So that is the responsibility of the city. However, the plaque and replacement of the plaque and maintenance of the plaque is for the applicant to be responsible.
Thank you so much, CEO. Councillor Burns, further question.
Thank you, CEO, and I'm just going to wing it now. So that you addressed one type of memorial that the policy addresses. Is that consistent with the other ones? And when it comes to the decision, can you explain that process? Who gets to make the decision on the costs and the implementation of this policy? And is there other documents that guide city officers in how to proceed
Thank you, Councillor
with
Burns.
those
I'll
applications?
refer that to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. So for a deceased person and a plaque, that no longer applies. So that is not applicable for future. The other areas, significant events or contributions from a person, that would be on an individual basis. Generally, that can be in the form, as it says in here, in relation to a public donation, such as tree planting or an artistically designed structure or sculpture. So it is a donation for that space. And then in terms of roadside memorials, we mentioned that in temporary memorials, that's in those clauses do specify that it is the applicant that incurs those costs. So now, back in 2024, that guidance around cost has really been clarified because it's no longer applicable in that plaque sense. However, a contribution towards a tree or another memorial of such is through a contribution or a donation is by the applicant, and it generally relates to infrastructure we were already going to be putting in that area as well.
Thank you, CEO. Any other questions from elected members or anyone wishing to speak against the officer's recommendation? If there's no one wishing to speak against, there are no further questions. I'll put that to a vote. Any elected member wishing to vote against the officer's recommendation? If there's no one wishing to vote against, I declare that carried. Can I just confirm, Councillor Knight, you're still online?
Yes, I'm online.
Thank you so much, Councillor Knight. We now move in to report 19.4, the Civic Honours request for freedom of entry and keys to the city. Council will consider civic honours for two organisations that have made a significant contribution to Mandurah through decades of service and dedication to our community. The officer's recommendation is on screen. Do I have a mover and a seconder for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Wilkins as the mover and Councillor Cumbleworth as the seconder. Councillor Wilkins, would you like to speak to the officer's recommendation?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this is a great opportunity to recognise two organisations that have given decades of service to our community, and I believe both are thoroughly deserving of these civic honours. For more than 30 years, TS Mandurah Australian Navy Cadets has helped shape young people into confident, capable and community-minded leaders through discipline, teamwork, leadership and service. They've had a positive impact on countless young people and their families, while also contributing to community events and commemorations across our city. Likewise, our Mandurah SES service volunteers have spent 50 years answering the call when our community has needed them the most, whether it's storms, floods, search and rescue operations, or supporting other emergency services. These volunteers give up their time without expecting recognition. They simply step forward because they care about keeping our community safe. These honours are not just about recognising the organisations themselves. They're about recognising the generations of volunteers, cadets, leaders, instructors and families who have dedicated their time to serving others and strengthening our community. I had written some notes about the passing of Keith Holmes, our mayor, didn't know you were going to speak about him. Obviously heard the news today, and it was a timely reminder of the significance of these civic honours we bestow. I knew Keith quite well, and it was a bit of devastating news. Our former mayor, Keith Holmes, OAM, obviously sadly passed away, was recognised as an honorary freeman of the city. Keith was a lovely man and a great mayor, and someone who dedicated so much of his life to our community. So I'm very pleased to support the officer's recommendation, and if it's passed, obviously look forward to celebrating these organisations on this well-deserved acknowledgement.
Thank you so much, Councillor Wilkins. As a seconder, Councillor Cumberworth, would you like to speak to the officer's recommendation?
As a young Navy cadet myself, a long time ago, I can confirm that great discipline and skills were added to my life through being a part of that organisation, and I sleep better at night when the storms roll through, knowing that the SES are there to, help people in their most critical time. It is crucially important for the young people of our nation to have access to these organisations and to be a part of something bigger than themselves and give back to this great nation. I thoroughly encourage everyone to support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Cumberworth. Are there any elected members wishing to speak against the officer's recommendation, or are there any questions from elected members in relation to this item? Yes, Councillor Jackson.
Sorry for that. I was just wondering why an organisation comes to us to ask for recognition. I would have thought we would be the ones recognising. So very worthy recipients, no problem with that whatsoever, and I fully support it. But it just made me think, shouldn't we be the ones saying, hey, we recognise you, rather than being prompted from organisations? So is there a process there that we're following, or how do we get to flip that a little?
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. I will refer that to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. There are times when we do recognise and recommend nominate an organisation or an individual for specific recognition. There are times where some organisations come to us first. So we'll continue to acknowledge, and it takes a lot of people to recognise different amazing organisations and people, and we sometimes miss it, and we require the community to come and tell us about some amazing people and the local legends and our Citizen of the Year, and all of those are also either through the city, Mandurah, whether it's elected members or officers or just community people, knowing that there are awards and for people that deserve to be recognised. So we'll continue to try and identify the organisations, but also encourage any nominations as well.
Thank you, CEO. Yes, Director of Strategy and Economic Development.
Sorry, if I may, Mayor, just one further thing to add. We do, when we run events, also sometimes we'll approach organisations to be part of them, and some of these organisations have elements in their constitution that will require allowances, or at least asking permission in this sort of way as well. So that's, as well as the real recognition for the great work that they do, these do sometimes come a bit out of left field as well for those sort of reasons.
Thank you so much, Director. As there is no one wishing to speak against the item, I will put the officer's recommendation up for a vote. Anyone wishing to vote against the officer's recommendation tonight? If there is no one wishing to vote against, I declare it carried. We now move to motions of which notice has been given, and there are none. Notices for motions for consideration at next month's meeting, there is none. Late and urgent business, there is also none. Confidential items, there is none. And that brings us to a very quick council meeting tonight. I would like to thank everybody for coming. This concludes our meeting. Thank you for your participation and support in assisting to ensure this meeting runs smoothly. I declare all business concluded and close the meeting at 6:40 p.m. and request that live streaming be terminated, please.